Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister we were strangers after she broke all contact with us? Original post. Apologies in advance if this post seems disorganized. My head is still reeling from all this. 9 years ago, I was 18 then, my older sister eloped with her then boyfriend. Our parents, we're an immigrant family, were vehemently opposed to her relationship. I remember me being okay with it personally. It wasn't my place. She eloped with her boyfriend and cut off all contact with us. My parents were beside themselves. I tried reaching out to her back then on different platforms, but was blocked. I even reached out to her best friends and asked them if they could at least get me in touch with her. They said they didn't know where she lived now, but that she'd told them she was happy. She had also left her workplace. Eventually, me and my parents, all came to an unspoken agreement to pretend she was never here. And I blocked her everywhere too. I remember being extra particular to call regularly when I was in college because I was worried about their state of mind. We're now at a place where I can't remember the last time she crossed our minds. Yesterday, my sister knocked on my apartment door. She cried and hugged me when she saw me. I hugged her back initially too. I wasn't really thinking at the time. She was just going on about how much I had changed, how much she'd missed me all these years. Eventually, I kind of remembered everything and asked her why she was here and who had given her my address. She said she had sworn to them that she wouldn't tell. I asked her why she didn't call first since whoever gave my address probably gave my number too. She said she just wanted to see me in person. I told her we'd gotten over her. Why was she here? She said her issue had only been with our parents, not me. I told her about how I'd been blocked too by her when she left. She told me she was sorry she'd hurt me, but she had wanted a fresh start and told me I was an uncle to a nephew and a niece. They weren't there at the time. They were at their father's. They recently divorced. She acted surprised that I wouldn't know, said she'd told someone to tell our parents about them. Maybe it was hearing about the divorce that frustrated me more, because if we were going to have gone through all this pain, at least she could have found lasting happiness. I just told her she was a stranger to me now. She said we could have lunch together. She wanted to know all about what I'd been up to. I told her it was best if we continued to have no contact. She didn't act like an older sister when I needed her to, and we were no longer family. We'd mourned her already and we were now strangers. She was tearful. She gave me her address and phone number and left. Last night, I spoke to my girlfriend about what had happened. She said she was still my sister, that I shouldn't have just turned her away. I told her she didn't know what we'd gone through in the days after she had eloped, but I still wanted to know. Here, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. She broke all contact with you for nearly a decade. She treated you as if you were disposable. There is no relationship to salvage. She doesn't get to unilaterally decide to pick you up again just because it works for her. I'm guessing she's decided now's a good time because she's getting divorced and in essence needs something. Time, attention, connection from you. Ask yourself, if she weren't getting divorced, would she have reached out? You need to figure out who shared your address with her. I hadn't thought of this, and I've been feeling sick thinking this might be true since I read this, that she wouldn't have ever reached out if she had gotten divorced. Would have been fine without ever seeing me again. Although she didn't ask for anything material during our interaction, I guess she wanted lunch. She thought after 9 years of almost forgetting I had a sister, I'd be okay with lunch. OP, I wonder if her ex-husband made her block you all? Could it be that getting away from him might be why she was able to reach out? I don't know. Back then she would vouch for him a lot in front of our parents, who really thought he was bad news, so I don't know. She seemed like it was all of her own volition. What are your parents' thoughts? How do they feel about potential reconciliation? I haven't told them about this. I don't see the point, I guess. They made their peace with her absence a while back. We all did. I have a sister that I have had zero interaction with for more than 30 years. She reached out to me after our mother's death in 2018. We just went different paths in life. I have zero in common with her, other than sharing a bio mother. I wished her well in life but told her no. That ship had sailed. Obviously, she threw a fit, which just confirmed my no. What your sister did was unfair to you. Makes me wonder if he was controlling her or if this is who she is. Not the a-hole. I was in OP's shoes too. My sister cut us off when she joined a sort of cult. We took a lot of mental damage, and it took us more than a decade to get over it. When she had a kid, she got a little into contact, mainly to get money from my parents. Since then, it has been an annoying pattern of her getting closer, then withdrawing again and verbally or emotionally cudgeling us on the head. If it was me, I'd just cut her off. But my mom, who she actually treated the worst, can't bear to do it. I don't know what her long-term plans are. She probably needs money and a babysitter, but you'd probably save yourself a lot of heartache if you kept to no contact. But you can't make that choice for your parents, in case she decides to try them next. Now for the update. Hi. Thanks a lot to everyone for the support in my post, and to those who reached out for support. I'd been emotionally drained almost immediately after meeting my sister. Like I said, I had made my peace, after a lot of hurt and futile hope, that I would never see her again. She had my number and I had blocked her new number. I'd thought about it and received advice too, but I just didn't. It slipped from my mind. She asked me on Tuesday how I was doing and asked if we could meet on Wednesday. She really wanted me to meet her kids. I was really conflicted. I didn't want to oblige her, but I decided to say yes to at least meet them. I went to her apartment yesterday and met my niece and nephew. My niece had recently turned 9 and my nephew is 6. They're great kids and I really enjoyed seeing them. I remember feeling a certain way when my sister was introducing me, and she told him that the way he's my niece's younger brother. Similarly, I'm her younger brother. We talked a bit and started talking about stories from us growing up. I hadn't, and still haven't, said everything is okay between us, but our stories and conversation went smoothly. I learned that after she eloped and got married, she had moved in with her husband into his place in a town a few hours away from us. That around 2019, they had moved to the city we were currently in. According to her, she didn't know all this time that I later moved here for work after college too. I told her about what I'd been up to all these years, my college, my job, my girlfriend, etc. After that, the kids were in their room and my sister brought up us all doing something again over the weekend. I told her we weren't okay. She can't expect me to forget everything. She said she was sorry, that her moving out had nothing to do with me, that she missed me. I was angry at the fact that she had no idea the pain I'd gone through, both personally and then having to be the crutch for my parents' pain. I told her I didn't believe her, that she would have been perfectly fine with never seeing me again if she hadn't gotten divorced, that I could have been dead, and she probably wouldn't have broken a sweat upon learning it, since she was so blissed out from her domestic life. I know it was ugly. I've never said anything like this. But in that moment, I just wanted her to feel some kind of hurt, of the kind she'd given me. She broke down and said I can hate her if I want, but to just not hate her forever. There has to be a limit. I regretted saying what I said when I saw her crying, so I just sat next to her and asked about why they divorced. She told me that their life had been going all right the first few years. She said she'd even sent word through a mutual when the kids were born, which either the mutual messed up or my sister did, because we never heard about it. She said when COVID happened, her marriage became hell for her, that it uncovered a side of her ex she never knew. He became abusive, had disdain for their son, revealed he used to record every single conversation of theirs, had convinced her she was crazy and a bad wife and mother. She said she stuck with him because of the kids until she had enough, and that a very good neighbor of theirs, whom she had become friends with, gave her a lot of support and even helped line her up with a job. During all this, she even blamed our parents for her sticking with the marriage for so long and for not reaching out. I told her they had literally pleaded with her not to do this. I was there. I was 18, not 8. She said they told her she was dead to them if she ran off with him, and so she blamed them for not being able to leave him. I told her that was insane logic, and she just didn't want to talk about them, and asked me not to tell them about her. I said yeah, her relationship with them is her own. I also asked her who had given her my address. She begged me not to ask her that they hadn't given it easily. She'd had to swear secrecy and cry and convince them that I'd want to see my older sister, so I dropped it. We had tea and snacks after that. She asked me again if I wanted to do anything this weekend since she has the kids, or we could do something the weekend after, just the two of us. I said I don't know. She was okay with that answer. She was tearful again when I was leaving. We hugged and I hugged the kids goodbye too. My mind has been a mess since then. I lashed out and everything, but also regret what I said. But then I also try to remember how I had felt back then and then get angry again. It feels so weird knowing that she's now 20 minutes away from me and we can visit whenever. I told my girlfriend about all this. She said she supports me no matter what, but in her opinion, to consider the weekend plan with a cool mind. This got long, I apologize, but I've been trying to collect my own thoughts on this, and writing this just seemed to help. Thanks for the help. Don't let her push you into immediately pretending everything is fine and going back to how things were. She still isn't taking responsibility for the harm she did. You didn't mention she ever apologized for ghosting you. She's blaming your parents for her choices. She needs to admit she did this to herself and to you, or that hurt and resentment is never going away. If she won't tell you who gave her your address, she has no interest in what you want, only what she wants, and she will manipulate you and them again and again to get what she wants. Yes, she isn't taking responsibility for anything. She offers as little as she can. Every explanation seems extremely self-serving and cannot be verified. Difficult questions are met with self-pity and tears. OP's biggest concern at the outset was surely, why is she reaching out now? There's little here to suggest it's for anything other than self-interest. Honestly, why block you at all if she didn't feel you didn't do anything wrong? She doesn't really seem to recognize the hurt she dealt you. Nor is she really willing to acknowledge how much she screwed up and continues to blame your parents for everything. Frankly, it's immature of her on all fronts. Also, she keeps pressing you to meet up with her this weekend, which shows she doesn't respect your need for space or time. She's just going to keep on boundaries stomping into your life with a surface level of apologies and assume it should be all good. Also, introducing the kids right away is a manipulation tactic, so you can't be as honest and frank as you would have been if they weren't around. She definitely seems to be me. I don't really see how reconnecting with her now would really benefit your life. She is pretty much a stranger. Last story. Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to become my sister's carer? Original post. I, 25 female, heavy disabled older sister, 32 female. She has cerebral palsy and learning disabilities and requires a high level of daily care. My parents have been her full-time carers for her entire life, and especially once she left school, they have been caring for her 24/7. Sadly, my mom passed from cancer around a year ago, and my father is in his 70s. He's just not able to take care of her anymore, but is refusing to put her in a home, saying that it would be cruel and he doesn't want her to suffer alone, which I can understand. However, he keeps insisting that I should take my sister in and let her live with me. I live on my own in the downstairs flat of a house. Technically, it would be all accessible for her, and since I work from home too, I could be nearby if she needed me. The problem is, I don't want to become my sister's carer. I already missed on so much growing up as my sister took all my parents' time and attention and money. I missed out on so many normal things because of her, and I'm not going to lie, the bitterness is still there a little bit. Of course I love my sister, but I'm only in my mid-20s. I want to be able to travel the world and find love and just do what I want without being tied down to being a carer. My dad keeps pressuring me, saying that mom would have never forgiven me if I'm the reason my sister ends up in a care home, but am I wrong for not wanting to become her carer? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. I'm the full-time carer for 2 disabled relatives, and it is difficult. You should not feel like an a-hole for not wanting to be her carer. I have a very specific set of circumstances going on that allow me to do what I do. And even in what I'd consider the best case scenario, there are still a lot of stressors to being a carer. Have a frank conversation with your father that, if you are willing, while you will look after her by visiting and taking care of legal matters and oversight of her medical needs, etc., you cannot be her full-time caretaker. Tell him that the transition to a care home now, while he's still alive, is going to be better for her in the long run than waiting until she is grieving the loss of her father to also upend her living situation. He might also find some comfort in being able to choose the home and helping her getting settled into it, to make sure he feels she's in good hands. Although he probably will still not think it's as good as it would be if you took her, and to be honest, it might not be, but that doesn't make it your obligation. I'm going to have a proper talk with him about it tomorrow, but the last time I tried, he tried to guilt-trip me, saying mom would have been disappointed in me, and I just couldn't take it. Your parents really dropped the ball in not lining up a group home or care home for her and gently transitioning her years ago. You have a right to live your life. OP was always the backup plan. The parents just assumed she would take over when they got too old. It might even be why they decided to have another child. Definitely not fair to OP, who deserves to live her own life. I must admit, this has been on my mind recently. There's a 7-year age gap between me and my sister, and being 25 with a dad in his 70s is fairly uncommon. Now for the update. So me and Dad finally had a talk last night. I tried to explain it from my point of view, added in a few of the points people raised here, like getting her settled in a home whilst he's still around will make the transition smoother, and that I'd happily go visit her, maybe take her out on the odd day trip, but I do not want to be held responsible for her day-to-day care. He was still trying to convince me to take her in, and guilt-tripping me, saying that my mother, who passed last year, would be so disappointed in me. I got mad and told him in no uncertain terms, am I becoming my sister's carer? I love my sister, but she's not my responsibility, and I need to be able to live my own life. He told me to sleep on it, and we'd discuss it again later, making it clear he is fully against putting her into a group home. He seems to think once he passes, he can simply bequeath her onto me, which is both not how that works, and honestly a bit insulting to my sister. Even just suggesting that she could start attending a day center for people with disabilities to get her used to being with other people got him riled up, and he started yelling about how he didn't sign up for this, and having me was supposed to be his fix for it. He thinks the stress of caring for her was what caused my mom's passing. I was stunned and left without saying a word, but now I don't know how to face him, and honestly a part of me feels bad for my sister in case she overheard that. She has learning disabilities, but she's smarter than a lot of people give her credit for, and at the end of the day, she's still my sister. I wouldn't want her feeling like a burden, but I have no idea where I go from here.